In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up a simple PHP guestbook for your website so that users can sign in or send you messages directly from the web page without having to go through an email program. So uh, if we go back to our original page that we created, I had added a link at the bottom of my old menu here that says "Write in my guest book." And this menu, however, didn't go anywhere. If you recall, I used it to demonstrate a null link, which was just the hashtag or the pound sign in the link area, which made it look like a link, but nothing really happened when you clicked on it. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually go out and get some uh, open source code for setting up a basic sign-in page in a guest book for our site. So I have open in my browser a site that I have a link to from the Moodle page where there is a lot of beginner and starter code and available code for those people interested in using PHP through the sitewizard.com. It's really a fun site, and I would like to encourage you to take some time and go and experiment with different code here. There is a lot of available code out on the web that you can get and customize, provided you give credit where credit is due um, and not using it for commercial purposes and those sorts of things. A lot of this is available and fun and ready to pop into your site. The PHP code that I'm going to use here is the feedback form wizard code at the very top of this page. And if I click on that, it just simply describes what this is. There are a couple of demos for using this. It has a terms of use in terms of using the code here, so you please go through and read all of this. And then he has built up a wizard to set up your code so that you can just copy and paste blocks of code and snippets of code into your page to make it work. So you read through the first page, step 1 of 2, type of script you choose is simply create a PHP feedback form. Requires PHP 4.2 or above. That is what's running on the server. So as long as the server is running PHP, which most servers are, you can go ahead and use that. So we're going to do that. And then we check that radio button and we go to step 2. Now, in here, you put the information that's going to be embedded into the code when the code is written from this page. So put in the email address that you want the guest book to go to. And I'm going to simply put in my code here at school. And then the URL of the feedback form. So here you have to really know what the full web address is going to be for where your feedback form is located, and that is going to be sim.column.edu/iam/wd/ your last name, or lowercase, not mine, but I'm putting mine in here to show you how this works. And then you have to have a name for where your page is going to be located, the actual name of the guest book or contact me page on your website. And I'm going to call it, even though I haven't created it yet, this is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call my page contact me.html. All one word, contact me.html. Now I'm going to select all of that and copy it because most of this is going to be repeated in terms of the URL of the thank you page. So I'm going to highlight that and then paste. So the thank you page is going to be the entire same address, except I'm going to replace contact me with thankyou.html. So you're going to have a contact me HTML page where the form will be located. Then you're going to have a thank you page that will say thank you for filling out my form when the user has clicked submit. And then lastly, you're going to have an error page that you have to create. Once again, remember, I haven't created these pages yet. I just know what I'm going to call them and where they will be. So I put URL of error page. So this page will show if the user doesn't fill in their name correctly or an email address or something, which we will determine here in a minute. So I paste again. Most of the URL is going to stay the same, except I'm going to replace contact me with simply error.html. So I have to create 3 pages back on my site, one called contactme.html, the second called thankyou.html, and the third error.html. Okay, so now we go down to advanced options, the subject and line in the email. You can change this if you want. This will be in the subject line that you will receive once a user fills in your form and clicks submit. It will be sent to your email address that you have provided up here. And it will say this in the subject line. I'm just going to leave it feedback form. That's fine with me. Leave this HTML family to use. Just leave it as compatible. Visitors must, these checkboxes, you can change these if you want. Visitors must enter their email address. Yes, we want them to do that. Visitors must enter their name. Yes, we want the name for sure. And visitors must enter comments into the form. I'm going to uncheck that just so you don't have to put comments in. I can still get your name and email address and put you on my list of best friends, even if you don't leave comments. Let's continue on. These are for advanced users only, so just leave them unchecked unless you want to go in and look at some of those. Conditions for use. You want to agree to these conditions. Make sure you read through them first, and then once you've agreed to this, you simply click Generate Script. Okay, on this page, you simply have the output of the feedback form wizard here ready for us to use. And you can see here the first step is the feedback form script. And the author gives you directions to specifically cut and paste everything in the box below into an ASCII text editor and save it as feedback.php. Note, examples of ASCII text editor include Notepad on Windows. It also includes TextEdit on a Mac. You can't use a word processor, so don't use Word, WordPad, Office, Pages, Google Docs, anything else like that. You need to use either TextEdit or Notepad or some other text editor. Once you've located that application, you simply go in, select the code. So I'm going to copy that code, and then I'm going to go to my dock, and I'm going to launch TextEdit, because I have a Mac that I'm using. And I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to paste directly in. And then, so here it is. Here's my PHP code. And once again, he says to save this, the author, as feedback.php in the root folder. So all I do is I go File, Save from TextEdit, and I'm going to save it as feedback. It's got to be exactly like he says, feedback.php. Not going to save it in the cloud. I'm going to save it on the desktop, specifically on the desktop in my root folder. So feedback.php form in my root folder, and click Save. So now I've got the feedback form done. I can click back on the feedback form wizard page. Step 2 is the HTML code. So cut and paste the code below into the portion of your web page where you want the feedback form to appear. Save that page at the URL http://sim://column.edu imwd-nofs contactme.html. So once again, this is going to have your last name, not mine. But I have to create that page. So here's the HTML code though for the actual form. So I click inside there, copy, and then I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver, toggle back to Dreamweaver, and I'm going to go to File, New, create a new HTML page, create, and I'm going to attach the style sheet. Oops, I'm going to save it first. That's what happens if you don't save the document first. It won't give you a correct path to the style sheet. So we're going to go to File, Save, and remember I'm going to save this as contactme.html. If the names of your pages don't exactly match what you put into the form wizard, it'll give you an error that you'll have to debug in your PHP form. So make sure that it matches exactly what you put into the feedback form wizard. Contactme.html, pretty sure is what I said it was going to be. Store that at the root level. Now I can attach the style sheet. Desktop CSS, click OK, turns yellow. Then I just click inside, anywhere inside my page here, and you can see the cursor is blinking, and that's all fine. I go back to where that cursor is positioned in the code view. So don't paste the code inside the actual window, but paste the code that he gave you for the HTML in the HTML split view or in the code window. So the cursor is positioning there. I just go Command V. And here is the form that I downloaded from the form site. If I click refresh, there it is. So there's my feedback form. I can click inside this div that's been created here, and I can actually center this. That actually positions that form, and then if I click on that, the actual wizard form here, and go down to the property inspector and say center, I can center the form inside the page. So there's my feedback form, which is default. I can change any of these little labels if I want. You can copy and paste more areas in and customize this if you want, but I'm just going to make sure it works and then test it and then let you experiment more on your own with this. So this is the feedback form. Now I also have to create the other two pages, which is the thank you page and the error page, and then we have to upload it and test it. So I'm going to go to File, New, HTML, click Create, and I'm going to save this page as thank you.html. Whoops, I'll type it correctly. Thank you.html, and save that in the root level. Attach the style sheet. Click OK. And I am going to type in here just a simple, I'm not going to create a div, but I'm just going to type in, thanks for filling out my form. just so we can get this done quickly. So thanks for filling in my form. I could have a really nice thank you page here, put it in a div, container div. In fact, I might do that. Highlight the text, go to insert div tag, and notice we haven't used this function here, but you can say wrap around the selection if you've got some text and you want to just quickly put that text inside the container you created. There we go. So now it's at least inside the container. I can give it a heading 3 style so it looks nice. Thanks for filling out my form. And then I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to create one last page that's needed, which is the error page. So new HTML, create, save this as error.html in the root folder, click save, attach the style sheet, click OK, type in some text. I'll say, please go back and fill out the form correctly. All right, and then I'm going to highlight that, wrap the container around it. So I go insert div, wrap around selection, container. Oh, I'm just having a hard time with typing. Container, click OK, make the text H3, heading 3. So now I've got my error page, my thank you page, my contact me page, and my PHP form is also in my root folder as well. And so now I just really need to upload to the server and test this. And so I'm going to click on my root folder here because I've got a lot of things to upload. And I'm going to click connect to server here. But while I'm connecting to the server, I'm just thinking there's one thing I didn't do. And before I go ahead and upload, I do need to make sure that the link is hot to the contact me page. So I have to go back to my index page before I upload, and I have to click on highlight the write in my guest book link, and instead of a null link here, I'm going to use the point to file tool, and I'm going to drag it to the form, which is the contact me page. So now I've got that link actually hot rather than a null link. I can click back on the root folder here and click upload. Do I want to put the whole site? Yes, I do. I click OK. It says that many files have been modified. Do you want to save them? Yes, I'm going to say yes to all. And the CSS has changed. Yes, I want to change that as well. Lots of files to upload. So once your site has finished uploading, you can just simply toggle back to your browser. Here's the Site Wizard site, and I'm just going to open a new tab and go to my sim.clum.edu iam/wd/ my last name. And so here I am at my website, and now this link should be hot right in my guest book. So I click on that, and sure enough, it takes me to my little sign-in page, and I'm going to test it to see if it's working properly. I'll put in my name here. I'm going to leave this blank but add some comments. But you'll remember that this needs to be filled in. So if that doesn't get completed properly and I click send feedback, sure enough, I get the error page which says please go back and fill out the form correctly. I'm going to go back there, and now I'll put my email in there and click send feedback form, and I get the thanks for filling out my form page. So it's a very nice and quick and clean way for people to send you information through your website without having to go through an email program. If you ran into errors or it's not working correctly, you'll just have to go back and make sure that the web addresses that you put into the wizard were correct. You can go back and look at the PHP form and change that if you want to. It's not that hard to do. Most of this you can troubleshoot yourself if you just look at it and use common sense to see to make sure that the PHP form is pointing to the correct URLs or pages. That's 99% of where students run into problems with this, is just having the right address being pointed to from the PHP form. So good luck with it. Certainly not a requirement, but this is a lot more fun than having somebody send you an email from their desktop email program. Okay, so that's how to set up a feedback form wizard.